Well, hello model car fans, welcome to the Muscle Car Modeler. My name is Raul, and here I'm going to show you another vintage kit that is unbuilt here. This is the 1968 Chrysler 300, and a big C body for its time, and somewhat unusual, not really a valuable kit in my opinion. I see people asking for a lot of money for some of these, but they're out there and you can find them. I wasn't really looking for this one, and it's kind of funny that, you know, if you guys have watched some of my other videos, and I actually own a big C body. I got a 71 Plymouth Fury wagon. I'll throw up a picture of that beast, and that's my pride and joy, and a very fun car for me. But when it comes to models of Plymouth C bodies, there really aren't many. This is one of the few, and you would think I would have a bunch of these, but I've got two of them now, but never really seeked them out, and just kind of they come my way. It goes to show when you're not really looking for something in particular, and you go to shows and you go to sales and whatever's out there, and you never know what you're going to find. And it's funny because I bought this one real recently, and then I've got another one that I bought as a built up here, and I'll show you more of this one. I did not build this, but got it really cheap, so it's a potential rebuilder. But I want to show you what's in the kit, and one of the things that I ponder and think about, don't get me wrong, I love Johan kits, and I love how they look when they're built and they're done. But when I look at the contents of this, and then I think about how much they're loved, but if they were produced today, I hear a lot of people say, I wish they would still make them today. I think they would get complained about like crazy if they were produced in big numbers today, if you were able to go to the store and buy this kit for 30 bucks. So if you bought this for 30 bucks at your local hobby shop, and I show you what's inside here, I think a lot of you would actually complain and say it's a waste of money. Much like I see people complaining about old MPC kits that have been around forever. Now this came out in 1968, so its tooling is very old, but it hasn't been issued many times. But even this is the reissue right here, and I'm not sure when it was done. There's no barcodes on the box, so it's pretty far back. But this one's got a lot of the stuff in it, and so left the price tag on it. Yes, I did pay $15 for it, and real recently too, just a couple of days ago, and I wasn't looking for it, but that's the kind of stuff that kind of happens, it stumbles in your lap. But I wanted to show you this, and I just want to think about, if it was available today and you can buy it, would you be upset if you bought the kit and you saw the contents and compared it to the modern kits today? Especially if you went into your store and you bought this for 40 bucks like most kits are now. But I'm going to show you this, but a couple of things on the Chrysler 300 here. This is actually a pretty cool car, but it's a large car, and there's a lot of stuff that's in here. There's a lot of the custom parts, a couple of different sets of wheels, and while there's only one motor, there's actually a couple of different tops for it. This is the 440 TNT, which the car would have came with. This is the long ram Mopar engine, which really cool. This is in there, but not correct for this car. I think 62 was the last year that they used these. It was like 60 to 62 as far as the long ram or sauna rams or whatever they call it. Here it says Firepower 390 ram. It's got this custom console parts, which are actually in my rebuilder here. This actually has the console in there, the custom console. So it's just kind of funny, but I haven't done anything with it. This is exactly how I bought this one. I'll show you more of that here in a minute. But check this out. We'll open this up and we'll start taking some of these contents out of the box here. First, of course, they're known for their beautiful bodies, and this one is no exception. This is right out of the box. And it's kind of funny that there's some mold issues right there, if you can see it. It looks like, just whatever happened to it, like something had dug into it. But I don't think that's any actual issues, like it was actually in the plastic. But it's not done very well here, and then some pretty good mold lines here. Not being a critic, I mean, considering that this is from 1968, that's missing a part here. Don't know if that was modified. The way it's done right here, kind of wonder if it's mismolded or if it was cut. Whoops, let's just put that down. Here's the interior tub, which is a pretty nice interior tub, but it's very bland. Not much of a console there, but there's more of that in there. So there's the chassis, and it's got custom A and B in there. The directions kind of refer to that. Here's the glass, a little bit of flash here, but pretty nice. But this is what you would expect from Johan and all the kits I've dealt with. Here's the chassis. This has some features on it that really make me laugh. Here it's molded in, and there's a lot of flash here, but it's funny. You see the tranny right here? It's kind of vaguely molded in the flash. It's very thin. You flip it over, it's very thin, but it's not supposed to be either. That's actually just flash. You got to trim all that out. And it's got the molded in exhaust pipes right here that go to the manifolds. Those need to stay, but there's just a lot of flash here and a lot of cleanup. Not too bad for the age of this kit, but considering the tooling, and it's only really the second time it's been issued, because this kit's only been issued twice that I know of. May have been issued a third time, but I only know of it being issued twice. This box art and the original 1968 flat box. So here we got the custom seats here, and here's the custom console. Alright, with a lot of flash. Here's the firewall with the battery, and then the wheel backs right here. Like I said, a ton of flash. This needs a lot of cleanup, which just happens quite a bit in these Johan kits. Here's the hood. You can see a lot more flash, and I don't mind cleaning this off, so I'm not complaining. But I'm just kind of, you know, for a kit right out of the box, you know, this happens quite a bit, and not too big of a deal. It's not a deal breaker for me. Here's the custom front or rear bumper. I think that's the front. Here's the dashboard, which just has some really nice detail in it. It's got a mold split right in there, so it wasn't really molded very well. But once the column is in there and glued in there, you're not going to see that. So there's some of those parts. We got the stock front seats. Here's a single 4-barrel intake manifold, which is the one that would be correct for the actual 68 for the stock car. And a couple of license plates. Put them down. Here you got the rear bumper. Chrysler 300, 1968, molded right in it. This one, the chrome is really nice, but there's some flash on the sides here. And I didn't remove this from the tree. It either fell off or somebody took it off. Here's the front bumper, molded in 1968, and the hideaway headlights, which were common in the Chrysler 300s. We got a really nice set of stock steel wheels, fronts and rears. These are really nice. Nice set of Mopar ones. And here's something that cracked me up. Here's the dual snorkel air cleaner, but it only has one snorkel on it. But it has molded in it, Chrysler TNT 440, so it actually has the pipe pan detail molded right into it. But that's what this is. That's the second snorkel that you glue on it to get the dual snorkel air cleaner, which really nice air cleaner, and I don't think I've ever seen this before. And we've got the other valance. I believe this is the front valance, where this one is actually the rear one for the custom. Here we've got the fan belt assembly. The top half of the engine, which is both cylinder heads and the valley pan, it actually has the bolts and the retainers, which the real engine had, but so it's kind of surprising to see that. And there's the radiator right there. And then here we got another little tree of some custom parts. I'm not really sure what these are. I haven't really looked real closely. These kind of look like the seat hinge covers. I'm not really sure. I believe these are custom armrests for the custom seats. I think that's where it's in the instructions. And then here's the Johan white wall tires, which these are pretty nice. They're actually misprinted a little bit, which was common back then. But they're in here and they're very nice, so happy that those are in there. Here's the chrome tree with a lot of the custom pieces of chrome. The factory console, which is automatic, which is a really nice alternator. Here's the wire wheels. Love these wire wheels and the spinners, or knockoffs. Got this part here. I'm not sure what that is. A couple of the spotlights. I don't know if that's a linkage or a shifter, what that is. That I believe is the automatic shifter. And you got the sauna ram or long ram intakes, which I think is really cool. The air cleaners for them. The fan that's chromed. The custom taillights. Here's the shifter right here actually. And some breathers for the air cleaner. It looks like another shifter, so it looks like I got two different shifters here. And then custom gauge part right there for that console. And the inside rearview mirror, which one thing that a lot of Johan kits have is inside rearview mirrors and outside mirrors. MPC kits usually don't have them. So if I'm going to compare the two, that's one plus that Johan did a lot of, is they included mirrors where MPC did not. But it's a really nice chrome tree. Really like these wires. There's the stock wheels. So there's 3 sets of wheels in this. And then this is a chrome seat back. There are 2 of them. And here we got the exhaust manifolds, which really not that nice. The axle retainers, or that the plastic axles go through. And here's a dual quad intake manifold for a couple of 4 barrels, and the distributor. So I don't think it has the right number of leads on it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, looks like 8, but looks like that's all there. And then we got the steering wheel. So there's a lot of flash that needs to be trimmed off of that. And then the torsion bars for the suspension, which the plastic axle goes through. And oh, and I got a bag of the small stuff, so let me open this up, because this is the stuff that's fallen off the trees or just loose in the box. But it is all here. Here's the engine, both halves of it, so you glue together with the automatic tranny, but a big gaping hole right in it for the axle to go right through. So don't really care for that, but that's the way they were molded. A lot of them are this way when it comes to the Johan kits. Not every single one. And we've got one carburetor. There's one valve cover. Here's the other valve cover. A couple of the mirrors. And here's the second carburetor. So both carburetors are here. Here's the axles, the plastic axles. So it makes me think this is, being the second release. The early releases, I think the original releases had metal axles, and the later releases have the plastic axles. So if you see these in there, you know it's a later release or re-release. And here's the custom taillights right here. And then here is the stock taillight, which is one piece. And this one actually looks like it's molded in red plastic. A lot of the earlier ones, they're molded in clear plastic and painted with red paint. Then we got some spacers here, which usually hold the interior tub to the chassis. And then this one's got the plastic pins, which there are actually 4 of them on this one, 2 front, 2 rear. And then here's some custom light lenses right here. So that's pretty cool, but that's pretty much it in here. And then you've got their directions. Get this open. So here's the directions on it, which it shows you how to build the motor, and then it shows you the dual snorkel air cleaner where you glue the second snorkel on there, and then the intake, and then the coil, which I didn't see the coil, so I think that's missing from my kit. I've got some of my parts boxes, so that's the only part I didn't see. And then you've got the sauna ram or long ram intakes right here. Here's the custom console that it talks about. There's, the armrest for the custom seats. And then you can put the stock console top right on top of there. And then the pedals, which those are in there. And then on the back side here, you've got the 3 different wheel choices. This part's missing too, this washer jar. But it tells you how to put the torsion bars in, firewall, and all the rest of the stuff. And then here's the custom parts on the body and the stock parts. I'm not a big fan of the custom parts on this particular one, but that's what was going on when this car was initially tooled. So there's that. And then for comparison, here's one that's built. Now I said I didn't build this, I actually picked this one up from somebody who was selling off a collection of models that were built. And this one's done pretty well. It looks like it was jacked up just a little bit because this rear is really high. The front kind of is too. But I look at the way the suspension is, I think it's supposed to be this way, but it really looks like it's really high. Now this chassis plate seems to be moved forward just a little bit because it doesn't line up and it needs to go farther back. They added these chrome exhaust tips. They're from something else. And this is not the motor that came in it. You can see he adapted that stuff here. It looks like it has the white wall tires on it, but they're just turned to the inside. They're all there. And that's why the hood doesn't shut, because it has some retainers. You got to pull the hood forward. So this grill assembly is actually moved forward because the chassis is moved forward, so the hood doesn't technically close or line up. But here's why. It's got a first gen Hemi in there. Dual quads that was put in there from the builder. Now I don't know who the builder was. It's got a couple of fuel pumps in there and some other details, but most of it is here. Got a cool can, these radiator hoses, but all this is definitely from a later kit, and he added the fuel lines in there. So looks pretty cool. I'll probably rebuild this one. Not really sure what's going to go on with it, but picked this one up and it's in my stash, and then I ended up picking this other kit up. So don't really have any plans to actually build it anytime soon, but this is just going to be a fun rebuilder. Chrome is kind of messed up here, and it's got a plate on the back. But you know, this one, all in all, it's pretty decent, other than not having the stock console, which I like all the stock parts to build it stock. This one doesn't have the stock console and doesn't have the original engine, but everything else is here. So this is a pretty nice rebuilder, and you could see a little bit of the glue warping the roof a little bit from the glass being glued in. But the mold lines are still here, and it looks like a spot of glue on the trunk there that got on it during the build on it. And the tires are definitely too far in. They probably should be spaced out more, which I believe there are some spacers on the tree to do that as well. So I figured I would show this off to you as far as the builder goes, and an unbuilt kit, so you can see what's in there and the quality and the flash and the parts in there. And I firmly believe that if these kits were truly available today, that there'd be a whole lot of complaints about the quality of the kits and comparing them to the MPC kits, because I think they really are just like the vintage MPC kits. But since those kits have been reissued and reissued and reissued, and the molds are seriously worn out, and they get a lot of complaints, and these haven't been issued since the 80s, a lot of the Johan kits. But if they were, and they were readily available, I think they would get quite a number of complaints. But since they're so rare and so well revered, and everybody remembers them, and I love them, so I'm not complaining about them. I love them. But when it comes to, you know, when I was a kid in the 80s, building the kits in the 80s, I really didn't see these. I didn't run into too many MPCs, AMTs. I really preferred the Revell and the Monogram ones. So those are the ones that I fondly remember growing up and at my first model kits. And some of my MPCs I remember struggling with and didn't like them as much, and they were a bit more work. Now they're just all challenges, and they're all fun to build, and I just enjoy modeling and building them. But I figured I would just, you know, share some of my opinions there and hear what your opinions would be on that as well. But thanks for tuning in and subscribing and watching. I really appreciate it, and all your comments. And you guys, you have a wonderful Saturday, and I'll see you next weekend.